You are listening to the Lost Art of Podcasting. You are listening to the Lost Art of Podcasting. Right. Hello, welcome once again to the Lost Art of Podcasting. I'm here in the Keidokwai Dojo here in Blackpool. I'm joined with two very special guests. I've got my first Dan coach, Ross Goodwin.
Hello.
And third Dan coach, Gary Burt.
Hello.
So, of course, it was the 75th birthday of Keidokwai, which is one of the oldest clubs in Europe.
It is one of the oldest clubs, yeah. It's certainly one of the oldest in the country.
Oldest in the country, so there we go. So, thank you for being here, guys. Essentially, it's a quick rundown of things about Keidokwai, yourselves, and judo. So, who wants to start?
You go first. I'm happy to start.
We'll start with Gary. He's been here a lot longer.
Yeah, to say the least.
So Gary, why judo and why Keidokwai?
It was really an accident. So I tried karate when I was 14 or 15. Didn't really love it. I wasn't very flexible, and I found that I wasn't very good at the kicking side of it, and it just seemed a bit artificial, just punching and kicking air. I saw the advert, I saw the letters up at the window and wondered what it was. So I think, like many other people over the years, I walked up the stairs one night when I saw the lights on. I thought, I'll go and see who it is. Came up, poked my head around the door, as most of our new members do now. And that was it. I thought, wow, this looks impressive. And was invited on, right, come on, get your shoes off, have a go. And I was really fortunate that the coach who was teaching that night was a great coach who became a really good friend of mine, and was my coach and mentor for many years until he passed away about 5 or 6 years ago. So it was these very stairs, and it was the same club, so I'm really honoured to be carrying that tradition on.
30 years ago now, 31 years maybe?
It is...
Showing Gary's age now.
30, yeah. I think this will be the 32nd year, yeah. So I started when I was 17, I think it was. Wow. Just before. But it was around, I was walking home and grabbing chips on the way home, so I would have been under 17, so I wasn't driving.
Raffles chippy, shout out to Raffles.
But it was, the thing.
So and Ross, how did you get to come to Keidokwai and get involved in judo?
Well, Dennis the man obviously just left. Well, like I said, for me, first of all, 2017 goal ticked off. I'm a fan of the podcast, as you know. We spoke about this, and I've been trying so. I'm not after brownie points. I've been trying so hard to get on this podcast. It's unreal. But no, same as Gary, I got into it by accident. I wanted to go down like the acting route, the thespian route of professional wrestling. We talk about wrestling all the time. We're big fans, obviously, and I was just a fan of the spectacle so much that I was willing to do anything to break into that business. So I was 14, very, very overweight child, no athletic ability whatsoever, just absolute potato, a spud. And again, I got talking to a wrestler and he said, I'm too young to start, do judo. So I thought, he pointed me in the direction of Keidokwai, and it took me about 8 months to pluck up the courage to come down. I came down, greasy hair, overweight, tracksuit, not much to offer, not much to give, and I was just provided the opportunity just to take part. Straight away I was too shy to join the kids mat, so he was kind enough, James Turley was kind enough to give me a one-on-one session, and I was just so in awe of everything, how it went down, and I loved it. I took to it straight away, and the cool thing was I finally plucked up the courage to go back on the kids mat, and building up from there, slowly building up from there, and I seen him turn down so many kids at the door, come back in September when there's a beginners class, and I'm thinking, well, why has he accepted me, and stuff like that. And obviously very fortunate to me, fast forward 8 years later, I got my Dan grade, which was awesome. Thanks to Gary for obviously putting me through the hellacious, torturous lineups, fighting everybody one by one every single night. But I approached James on it and said, I noticed when I was a kid you were turning other kids away, so I asked him the big question: why did you accept me at the time?
Yeah.
But it was never answered. He says, "Well, look at you now." It's not the answer I wanted, but I don't know if he saw something in me. I don't know how he could have, like being the kid that turned up. But I'm in awe with it. I'm passionate about Keidokwai. If anyone knows me, obviously, as you know, I'm fully passionate about the sport of judo. I'm fully passionate about Keidokwai. It's one of them where Gary will back me up. It's given me too much, and I'm indebted every day to this place.
I think there's a common thing, because I came into judo as a real lightweight. I mean, I was going to say the height I am now, so about maybe a little bit taller. I don't know, maybe I've shrunk over the years. But so I'm 5'6", so I'm not tall by any stretch. Not heavy. I was considerably lighter then, about 55 kilos.
Wow.
And the coach that I first had, he was I don't know, he's a bit heavier than I am now, but he was, he wasn't a tall guy. He was a similar sort of height. And what I saw with him was, I said, hang on, this little guy's rolling these big guys over. He's throwing them all over the place. This was Colin Topper.
Oh, Colin, yeah.
So Colin was a real tactician. He was somebody who was. It was never about the brawn. It was always about the skill. And the skill wasn't about learning it. It was absolutely about learning it inside out. And that was something I loved from the start. That I think I was lucky that I got a coach who. There's a lot of different coaching styles. I got a coach who was the absolute perfect coach for me, and a very tactical thinker. And the fact that he was a shorter guy lobbing these big guys around, I thought, that's got to be good for me. And I didn't need to be really flexible as well. But interestingly, the more I did judo, the more flexible I became. So, but it was. I think the other thing was, I could get involved right from the first day. So right from the very first session. The same principles that followed when I first came down still apply today, which is we don't force people anymore to wait for beginners classes. You're invited straight on. You go on, and whether it's your first day or your 20th year, you'll still go on the mat, and you'll go on with people, whoever's on at the night. And so you start off, you might go on with a white belt, you might go on with a black belt, and you'll learn right from the start that neither is going to hurt you. So, I think there's a common thing there.
I was fascinated ever since. Well, I started with James, and then obviously passed over to Dennis on the senior mat. And I think we got to about 2011, 2012. I've always known Gary. We've known each other pretty much 10 years. But when Gary took over as my full-time coach, I was open to a brand new world. It was more the psychology route and the mindset, and it just opened so many doors. It literally put me from set A and elevated me big time.
Yeah. So
all the quotes, things like that, quote unquote, I take everything in like a sponge, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. So the psychology behind it all, getting yourself in that mindset, and it's just a case of I want to win this competition because I said I'm going to win this competition.
Yeah.
Things like that, it's that simple. If you want to be happy, you can be happy, and that's how simple it is. Just getting in that right mind frame and mindset. And Gary taught me all that, and I owe him, like I said, big time. It's just cool, full circle, to talk about it now in that respect. But
I think for me, it's about really buying into what is at the heart of judo. So the founder of judo, Professor Jigoro Kano, was a professor of education in Japan. He looked for a sport that was going to be challenging but safe. So the sports around at the time, jiu-jitsu, whilst it was competitive, it had a nasty habit of occasionally somebody would get very, very injured or die. Death wasn't unusual. So what happened was, sadly, judo was a sport, was made to be a safer version of what was a very dangerous martial art. So what you've done is you've taken a lot of the good things about martial arts, but taken out the bad things. So a lot of the most dangerous moves are still gone.
Yeah.
But in terms of its heritage, a lot of the moves don't just go back, to the start of judo. They're variations of movements which go back hundreds of years, and in the fighting arts in Japan. And so, whilst some of the movements you can do them and you can think, well, that's quite interesting. For many of them, there are stories behind them that go right back to samurai days. So there were particular throws were done to be able to cope with particular samurai movements. So there's a real great history.
Even the way we bow and ray is relevant to obviously the samurai, how they draw the sword, things like that. So everything stays relevant to the script of where it originated from.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of parents like. They want the discipline, and I think the single biggest mistake people think is it's about the discipline from the coach. It's not. It's about learning self-discipline. So being shorter, I think nowadays it said we were bullied. It was just you had a tough time at school more. But funny enough, after starting, it wasn't long after judo, and I just didn't. And it wasn't because I was, suddenly really, really good. It wasn't because I was suddenly much bigger or stronger. It was because I was much more confident, and I had the confidence to not be in awkward situations and not to, we talk about being confident in situations, and I think one of the things we try and teach people is if they can understand the confidence, the way people treat them changes for the positive. So not only do they start to be less trouble perhaps in dangerous situations, they also come over more confident in job interviews when they're talking to people. So you start to lose the fear. You felt that, Ross?
100%. I can I can talk about it all day long. Everything that I've gone on to achieve career-wise has all been related to judo. I'm now in the fitness industry again. I've got myself in reasonable condition, knowledge behind it, the confidence, the presence, everything is related from judo. Particularly the confidence. Like I said, I was the shyest kid around, never put my hand up in school. As typical as that, head down in the street. And now you walk with a certain confidence and pride. You step onto the mat down here and you belong to something. You're part of a really, really prestige team that are dedicated and passionate to help you. It's the open-mindedness. If someone steps on the mat for the first time, I'll learn off them and they'll learn off me, and that's the way we've always ran it down here. You can learn off absolutely anybody.
I think the other thing, which hopefully is good for people, is once you walk through the door, the rest of the world stays at the door. You come in, and it doesn't matter what you've done, how bad a day you've got, nobody knows. And you don't have to share it. Your life could be really not going too well. You can walk on the mat and you can start to go, right, I'm going to have a positive time now. I'm going to get rid of the energy. I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to give everything my effort. And then over time what happens is you start finding a lot of things in your life get straightened out. And I think the more I've read into the history of martial arts, the more about judo, the more about coaching, and particularly about the history and the teachings of Kano, the more I can start to bring that into the classes. And what happens is you then pass on those lessons to the next generation. And it isn't about, huge pieces of mindfulness. It's about short, simple things that you try to help people understand that can make big differences in their lives. And I think as a parent you try and do it with your children as well, but certainly you try to bring it in the class. And one thing a coach, certainly Ross and I will both do, is we will absolutely, but in a positive way, call out really negative, destructive behaviours. And if I can give you one example was a player who came down, and he was a big lad, not a lot of confidence, head low. When he was being attacked, he'd had a habit of falling over, and really he came down and he stuck with it, and we said, don't fall over. People might be better than you initially in the technique, but make them work for it. Because you falling over isn't about the judo. It's about you not having the confidence to be able to stand up to the attack. It's about you really not feeling you're worthy of being an opponent. And that's just those simple things of don't fall over. Don't be thrown.
There's another one of that again. I love them quotes and them. Is it analogies? One of them quotes. There's another. I think the first thing that you learn in judo is to pick yourself up after falling over. Obviously we learn break falls, we learn how to fall safely, but again, the very first thing you learn in judo is how to get up after you've fallen. Again, as deep as that gets, that's what I've always taken from it as well. So, great example obviously of the lad we're describing. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast? Oh, okay, right. Let's break out the good stuff then.
I'm waiting for Gary to jump in with knobhead somewhere.
That's it. Waiting for drop the knobhead bomb.
Do you know what?
You've been very tamed. I think it was because we didn't realise we could.
One word for me that comes out though is which we're really big on is responsibility. About taking responsibility for your actions. So you see me driving my kids mad with this, and I'm sure, we do it on the thing, and the students and the other players get wound up. But it's a really important lesson, to take responsibility for what you're doing, for your behaviour and what you're doing. If you come on, it's up to you whether you give 100%, But if you're not putting the effort in, you've got no one else to blame. If you're not making the progress, there's no one else to blame. You take responsibility. So if somebody you're fighting gets hurt, you take responsibility. You might not have intended it, but you learn from that. And I think that's the really important thing, and that's, for me, that's certainly one of the lessons, that if you want to change, put the effort in, and don't come out with excuses. You will have a very, very short, it's a very short discussion if we start to hear excuses, and because there's such a barrier to improving. As soon as you start putting reasons why you can't do things, you're starting to program yourself for failure. So I think one of the things we do straight away, and people will pick up on this, they'll do it the first couple of times, and the others will look around and think, that's not a behaviour that Gary or Ross is going to tolerate, because it's not a great thing to do. I can't do that. No, you haven't learned it yet.
Yeah.
That's not, you can't do that. So when you say, I can't do that, that starts to become self-fulfilling. I can't do that. No, you haven't learned it yet. Yeah. So give yourself time to learn it. I can't be a black belt. Yes, you can. It's possible. If you don't become a black belt, you take responsibility for not becoming a black belt, because you've not turned up. Don't put an excuse. Don't come out with, I'm injured. Because every black belt's had a hospital visit or a couple of sore or two. Have you?
I have, yeah. God, yeah. Well, no, I was a brown belt. I didn't even make it to black belt before my first.
Oh, no, mine were before black. But on the journey to black.
On the journey, absolutely. Yeah, tell me about it.
And it's not that you're being dangerous. It's that you were committed. I absolutely got stuck into a fight, and it went for absolutely hell for leather, and got landed on my head, and a night in hospital with concussion and a few weeks off, but you come back. And I think that's why coaches will not take excuses. They're not infallible superhero judo players. They're normal people who've had the same injuries, the same problems with work, the same aches, pains, the same, I can't get that technique right, and they've got past it.
We know it can be overcome, so we know straight away from experience that it can be overcome. So we don't like these excuses. We can go cliche as it is, we've heard them all. Yeah. You name it, we've heard them all. Absolutely.
I think, and I think when people start to get it, when they initially, people come back and say, "Oh, that's just whatever." They're just coming out with it. But as soon as they start to think about it, and they start to stop themselves doing it, because they hear themselves like, I'm going to stop that because Gary will put me up on it, or Ross will put me up on it, then we start to see the change. And this is when people will start to see the benefit, not just in the judo, but in terms of their lives as well. Yeah. Because we'll do it. We will challenge people if we're seeing behaviours that are not positive. I can't do this. Why can't you do it? What's stopping you getting up in the morning? There was one a couple of weeks ago, and a player came down and he said, "Oh, I'm really tired. I was up at 8 o'clock. And another player turned around and hang on, no, this is not acceptable. I was up at 3 o'clock and I was, driving the van, and I'm here and I'm not complaining about being tired. Doesn't matter if you're tired, don't complain about it. And then you start to see those behaviours, which is, if you want to change it, get up and do it. If you're tired, either go to bed early or look after yourself. Because if someone else has got up at 3 o'clock and he's still here, then
you've had a good day, you've had a good line. Absolutely. That's simple as that. But you surround yourself with good people down here, and you can't help but be in a positive mindset. As soon as you step on the mat, you've had a bad day, you're feeling negative, you're feeling low. Honestly, as soon as you get on the mat, there's so much positivity happening. You just can't help but embrace that.
No, you can't help getting someone come around and leather you for
yes.
2 hours.
We will. We don't like that. Yeah, absolutely. We will.
I think one of the most interesting things is that you think that if you speak to a lot of people, and the impression of a black belt, I think, is someone who's an expert. But actually, if you look at what the Japanese understanding of a black belt is that's someone who's really just started their journey. It's someone who's completed the basics.
Yeah.
So getting a black belt is not the end of the journey, it's the start of your learning. That's the basics are done.
I have more goals in the sport now being a black belt than I did as a white belt, brown belt on that journey combined. I have so many goals now. I feel like I'm just at the start of the journey. Nowhere near my peak, literally just day one, started, I'm a beginner and I'm on this journey. I've got so many goals. When I was a white belt, brown belt, I only pretty much had one goal, get the black belt. Now that you got it, the goals are just falling in line and it's phenomenal, it's amazing, but you hit it on the head. Doesn't mean you're an expert. To me it means you're a beginner, you've got your tools and now you're on your journey. You climb the ladder of the coloured belts and then you get to the top and then you start walking. Simple as that.
You're looking at me going, my competing days, my goals.
I'm reliving my past now. I'm winding down, bringing up my glory days.
Well, and I think what happens as a coach, you don't, you have to be careful about this, I think, but one of the things as a coach is, one of the really pleasurable things is that your success comes from seeing other people, helping other people achieve their success. So your success is, it's not through other people, it's you're helping other people achieve it themselves. The job of a coach, for me, really, really simply, is to help people achieve more than they thought they could. Yeah. Hopefully that's a lofty goal, but it's to really help people achieve. But that journey doesn't stop. It might be, I can't beat him. Okay, we can work on that. I can't get that next grade. I can't get that downgrade. I can't win that competition. I can't win that fight. I can't. And then what happens is, if they've got the right mindset, they put the effort in, those things start to fall in place, and before you know it, like Ross, 2 times area champion, so gold twice, now in later this year going to be an international player, so he's got an invite over to Holland to go and fight as a player. So what that means is, let's put that in the right terms that it is. That's an international judo player. It's a GB competitor.
It's not.
That's
sunk
pretty
in.
good.
It hasn't sunk in yet, so it's overwhelming, but it's phenomenal. And again, hard work pays off, but it wouldn't have paid off without people like Gary, supporting me, guidance. The team that we've got is off the scale. Again, we're all here to help each other. That's the way it goes. There's no egos down here. We're not fighting amongst ourselves. It's you help me, I help you, and that's the simple arrangement that we've got.
I think one of the things that embodies that, which is often unusual, is we welcome all the martial arts. We welcome other clubs. It's not closed. We try to make the club as open as we can. Yeah. So we're not hidden, but it's not the easiest place to find. But the opening times are there. There's no contracts. There's no direct debits. There's no big membership fees. If you want to train, you want to turn up. You turn up. You walk up the stairs. You put the money in the tin. And
it goes any gender, ability, disability. We'll welcome anybody. Absolutely anybody.
Yeah. No, that's something I'm really proud of, because I know as a coach that not all sports are the same. I know as a parent, I know sports that my children have coached in, and I hold a high standard as coaches, and there are coaches that I've seen, and I'm not taking my children back there. That's not great behaviour. Yeah. Coaches who've been successful, that's not great behaviour. Because one of them is it really, really skillful as a coach to have a huge group of children, to whittle those down to the point where you've got the 5 or 6 best, and you've effectively demoralised all the other ones you don't want, so you can get the most able, the fittest, and that's what you can do. You get great results with. That's not great coaching. Great coaching is to take. You can do that with the scuffle ones, but the great coaching is to do exceptional results with everybody, not just the few. I'm really proud of the fact that you look at our mat. There isn't a judo type. Yeah. Either in age, gender, ability, and disability. We don't track ability. We don't track disability. We track effort. And interestingly, I think one of the things is we have had, sometimes our attitude to that can surprise people. I think, I can think of a couple of people. I can't do that because I've got this particular disability. Yeah. Well, you can decide whether you want to be that a blocker. It isn't to me. So you can decide whether that's going to be a disability or it's just part of who you are, and we're going to get on with it, and therefore you don't get to raise that again.
Yeah.
And I think some people that have had challenges, they start to realise that they know things are tough, but that's not something that is a blocker to them achieving something. So actually, it can be quite interesting, because by saying, okay, you've got that, but we take you for who you are. You don't get to bring labels into the dojo. You can't bring a label up here. If you've got a bad leg, you've got a bad leg. That's part of who you are. We're not going to bother about your bad leg. We're going to help coach you so you can be a great player the best you can. But you don't get to mention that you've got a bad leg as a reason for not doing something. What do you think about that? About the way we try to hopefully focus on inclusion?
I think it's, again, about the whole mindset thing. I think people are quite used to putting barriers up and quite used to the whole no. Again, as you mentioned about there's coaches out there that only focus on the gold or the winning because they want that reputation, but they don't see the bigger picture, you know, and it's about knocking down the barrier, you know. Yeah, I've got a bad leg, or I don't have a leg at all, you know what I mean? How can I work around that? And you've seen people on the internet that are inspirational, you know, no limbs, but they're still getting stuck in. I've always said it, as simple as it is, if you want it bad enough, you'll always find a way, no matter what it is, no matter how minuscule the task is. If you genuinely want it that bad, you'll find a way with no excuses. It may take a while, could take years, decades, but you will find a way.
Well, you've had some great success with a player from St Anne's.
Absolutely, yeah. Neil, he's special needs national champion now. He's got a hell of a story himself, which again he's been on radio shows and his life's
He'll willingly tell you.
Yeah, his life's done a complete 180. But his journey in judo, he was one of them. Another example where he wanted to do judo many years ago, and because of his needs, he wasn't included, which is absolutely heartbreaking. They didn't want to know. They wanted again the gold medalists, you know, these type. So he wasn't ever engaged in the class. They didn't want to know. He came to us. We accepted him with open arms, and I saw a champion. And that's exactly what he became. He put the work in, he wanted it bad enough, and we supported him and guided him, and now he's the British champion. Potentially, again, we can get it arranged, he'll be fighting for European titles, and going from there. It's even more inspiring, he's only been doing the sport for 8 months.
Yeah, cool.
He found a way, he had no barriers. We all know Neil, he loves it, he embraces it, which is great. I told him that he has to embrace it, he has to enjoy his victories. He's an absolute lovable guy, heart of gold, that kid.
I think judo's a good leveler because, you know, you say, I think one of the things you embrace your victories, you also learn to lose.
Yep.
There we go, people leaving. And I think one of the things is, if you know, ultimately it is a contest sport, there's somebody else on the mat. In most cases, one of you is going to walk off a winner and one a loser.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get hung up on losing. You're not going to have an undefeated record. It doesn't work like that. What's going to happen is you're going to work on. Sometimes you're going to win. Sometimes you're going to lose. But on average, they're going to even out. You know, even for someone who's an exceptional player, you're going to have to go on with people who are going to challenge you, and you're going to lose. And that's a really big part of it. About really, absolutely learn to celebrate winning, but don't fear losing.
I think my journey, competition-wise, I think must have been at least 3 or 4 comps before I even got a single win.
Yeah.
In the whole tournaments, I must have done 3 tournaments at least at the top of my head where I didn't get a single win. And again, the whole learning to lose thing, and now it's become you either win or learn, not win or lose.
Yeah.
So the fact from day one I was getting my butt kicked left, right and centre, and then you get the experience, you build yourself up, you know, you get yourself confident, and then you start winning, which is, again, it's a great feeling, absolutely.
And if you're listening to this and you're in a sport and your coach says winning is everything, think about this. How you go to your competition and you lose. Because most people, when they first go, are going to lose. How do you feel? Do you feel good, or do you feel like you failed? What's your motivation to go back? How do you think your coach is going to think? So actually, one of the things that, you know, really throws people is when we've got people going to their first competitions and we say, we don't care whether you win or lose. We don't. And that, you really shouldn't take that as thinking we don't, that winning doesn't matter. But what we're doing is, particularly in the early stages of competition and the early stages of players, we're setting the goals in things that people can achieve. And we don't, winning, if they can win, that's great. But success isn't winning, success is going to the competition. That's what is really critical to understand. And when you start to get rid of the fear, everything becomes possible. So you go to the competition and go, my coach is going to be over the moon that I went. Right, I'm going to make him proud because I'm going to try and do my best. There's no fear. You don't have to fear losing. Because if you fear, your coach is going to go, okay, tell me about what went well and tell me about what we can learn. What didn't go well? And there will be things. We've all done things. I've been to the competition, I've been to a competition going on, I got thrown. Why? I did this silly move. Okay? Have we worked on that? Yeah, but I still went and did it and I got chopped. Have you learned anything? Yeah, that's a really silly move and perhaps I should have listened to the coach. And then you'll have other days and go, I came back, I've got a medal. What happened? The thing we've been working on, it worked. That thing, that throw, that practice, we've been really focusing on it, paid off. And then we can start to do things, start to make progress. But, when I see kids coaches particularly, and I see it in, I see it in football particularly, but a lot of girls and boys sport, which is we've got to win. Losing is failure. No, it isn't. And what happens is we have kids who've played their socks off, who may have played a better team, who may have been a couple of players down, who might have had an ill goalie. They start to be blaming each other. They're feeling bad about the fact that they've given all their performance and they haven't won. Yeah, that's not great coaching. Having people feel bad about their effort is really bad. Yeah. And you know what? The kids don't stay, because what happens is in the early stages they can stay. The parents are taking them down, but they start to feel bad about losing. And this is one of the reasons we get, particularly with girls, we get such a tail off as we get into sport, because they're not taught that sport is fun. They're not taught that winning or losing doesn't matter ultimately. And that's not to say as a performance coach I'm not going to do that, because if you speak to Ross at a performance and elite level, we work very much on winning mindsets and strategies to win. Yeah. But we never ever fear losing, because as soon as we do that, we start to impede our progress. We start to block ourselves to get better, because if we fear losing, we just stay with what's safe. That might work for a while, but it won't work forever. And we need to grow. If we've got to grow, we've got to be able to risk losing and not fear it. So what's your thoughts around that?
I've just been nodding my head for the last 5 minutes. Just agreeing with, the Churchill dog, just nodding my head, honestly, just agreeing for the last 5 minutes of everything you're saying. It's absolutely spot on. I can't agree more. There's nothing more to say on it. You just put a stamp on how coaching should be, really. And sport in general, whether it be martial art related or whatever, it should be fun. That's the very first thing that it should be. It should never be a chore. You should never fear losing. Again, you win or you learn, and that's the way it is. And like I said, again, it all goes back to the mindset thing. Since Gary took over as being the coach, we've had a great relationship. You have to have a good relationship with your coach in that respect. And since then, I've noticed that the wins, I've had more W's in that column as opposed to losing. Having a good relationship with your coach, having faith in your coach as well. There's more W's in that column, which again is a great feeling, but it's not the be all end all. Yeah. I'd rather go to a comp. I have my goals and I set my goals high, absolutely, but I'd rather outperform everybody on the day than win anything. I'd rather go home with performance of the day than the gold medalist.
And I think the relationship with the coach evolves. Sometimes you will have bad days, and you should always feel that door's open. So I think hopefully you test me out, because this is going to look right collectively. So there have been times when an event hasn't gone to plan, and the right thing isn't to come down the next day and train super hard. You think, well, surely I'll come back and No, the right thing is just to take a couple of weeks off. Just to stay away from the sport, just to get some time out, reset, and know that the door is open, and know that when you walk in, the coach isn't going to go, right, what happened 2 weeks ago? Where have you been? Oh my God, have you been on the pies, dude? And you go, right, you can
tell. That's the case sometimes,
But actually, it's again that positive and go, okay. So you call up. Often there's the big difference because he'll be straight on the phone if it's gone well. If it hasn't, I'll be calling him.
You can tell. You can
so
tell
how did it go? It didn't go well. So you go, how do you feel? I was like, I'm not feeling great. Okay, well, let them learn from it. Take a week off. Don't force it. How are you feeling? I'm tired, physically or mentally, both. Okay. Take a week off. Reset. Recharge. Think about what you want to do positively, not negatively. Don't reflect on a bad day. Think about what you want to do positive. Come back when you want to achieve it. And so you don't feel bad about having a break. And I think one of the things that we really try and do is try to make it so whether you've had a week off, you've had 6 months off or 6 years off, you can walk in and the thing that you'll hear is, "Hi, great to see you," not "Where have you been?" So I think that's hopefully one of the things that we have. Apart from you,
it depends on the person.
Yeah, Gals that used to do judo. I get a lot.
Oh yeah, we've seen you before. Have we met?
But I think hopefully you do feel that. I hope that you feel that you're welcome back on. And actually, we miss you when you're not there, even though you say you're podcasting.
100%. Well, we've always joked that you and your brother have one key between you.
We
never see you down at the same time. It's just one or the other with you guys, which is always cool. But.
So anyone we've not criticised,
I don't know. You could do word association if you really want to hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So I'm going to give some simple things for a coach. Don't if you're gonna spot not as good or bad coaches, but we know what's been successful about keeping the club, and it's probably worth reflecting on 75
years.
When you think of some of these things, don't work with a coach who doesn't make you feel good about yourself. Don't work with a coach who isn't helping you be successful. Don't work with a coach who doesn't have your interest at heart and cares about what you want to do. And that means the coach should not every session, give you some tough sessions, but you should never feel that they're not doing it and driving you for your interest. And if you go back and you feel that if you feel that your coach really doesn't care about you, don't work with them, find another coach. And if you ever, here's a quick one, if you ever see a coach shout at a child, find another coach straight away. There's no better indicator of a terrible coach than someone who shouts at a kid.
Yeah.
And I say that as a parent, I see it far too often. I haven't said that. Don't work with any coach who allows the kids to shout at them either. I think it doesn't. We talk about discipline and martial arts, but you're not going to get well-rounded players if you've got a coach. And I do see it in other sports because I'm a parent. You see it in other sports, and the ref's at 9, and he's shouting that, And I think one of the good things about judo, compared to football, is we have a great one that we don't have parents shout out. We don't have to take abuse off parents at the side of the mat because we have something very simple. We invite them onto the mat. So if they think they can do better, it doesn't. They might have played football when they were a child and they think they're still good. Their little 9-year-old is a little messy in the making. Well, if you want to shout out and comment on judo, we can get you a gi and you can go and you can go and prove it with a bank grade instructor and see. And then a lot of the parents suddenly learn to be very quiet.
Very, very quickly, absolutely. As long as it's not me doing that job, I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm getting lobbed.
You do get some parents occasionally who are very good, and to be honest, they would never make a noise. They're never the ones.
They're always respectful. To be fair, absolutely.
Another interesting one is I think in terms of children, one of the interesting ones is if you see a really vocal parent. In many cases, what you've got a child who's doing sport in spite of to try and please the parent, not because the kid's enjoying it. That works so far, but it's not a sustainable
We always look. I was going to say you just mentioned it. Then long term, we're not looking short term, quick fix, money in the tin. We're not looking for that.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Pay us $200.
Don't do judo if you want to make it. It always loses. Every judo club.
We care about the individual. We don't care about the money. Obviously, we don't make money from this.
No.
We care about the individual. We care about the opportunities we can provide people, and that's what Keidokwai is. I can come down here, put the mats out, sit down. No one turns up. I've still done my job because I've provided the opportunity for people to come down. So I'm never upset. It has happened before. I've come down, I've put the mats out, no one's turned up for me.
Yeah.
I've still done my job. I'm still happy. I've opened the door. I've provided the opportunity. My job's done. I can go home and have a good night.
Yeah, no, I think it was brought home yesterday by Ronnie, the chief executive, or chairman, sorry, of British Judo, came down and he said, one of the things you forget about this as a coach, because you come down, every week you're coming down. For us, it's about, I think, 36 weeks a year every day during the school's open. So about maybe a bit more, 35ish weeks.
Yeah.
And he said over the years you've as a club have benefited huge amounts of lives, and you forget about it. You forget about all of those people, and they may only have come down for a few weeks or a few months or a few years, and their lives change. What you don't know is whether they've gone on and done judo elsewhere, whether they picked it up again at university, whether they've moved, whether they've introduced their children to it later. So I think I'm really proud of the club having really made a difference to a lot of lives in Blackpool. It is interesting how many people have got a connection to the club.
It's amazing how, again, it's crazy. Dan was on a cruise going around Italy and stuff, and he was wearing one of our shirts.
10 times Dan.
10 times Dan. I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast. He'd be killing me next week. But he was wearing one of our Keidokwai t-shirts on a cruise in Italy, and someone recognised it. I've been there. It's just amazing how many people you get talking. Oh, you do judo? I used to do judo in Blackpool, Revo. That's where I went. Absolutely. And it's phenomenal, honestly, how many people genuinely around Blackpool, particularly, have done judo at some point in their lives.
No, I think it's really interesting because it's a good opener as well. Good, not a bad thing to have on your CV. So it certainly helped me in one of my early jobs. So one of the first jobs, it was an interview within a government department, and slightly different to Ross. It wasn't about the confidence; it was the fact I walked in, and there was a panel of 3 people, and one of the 3 people was an instructor at one of the other clubs, and he just nodded at me, and I nodded at him, and I thought, this is going to be a good interview. I don't think this is going to be a bad one. So it went well, and the thing was, it wasn't that it wasn't flawed in any way, but he could ask me a question about what I did, and I could talk passionately about what I'd done, and he could talk about, well, how do you do that? How many times do you do it? Yeah. How do you fit it in with work? So it's we often talk about the judo family. I think Keidokwai is pretty good for having developed that.
We're very prestige. It's very rich in prestige. It's we have these gatherings, and I'm just in awe. I'm like a big kid again. I've grown up with these guys. I obviously started. I've been doing judo close again. I'm trying to get the numbers right here. You'll call me out on this, but I've been doing judo about half my life. Yeah. Which 10 years, 11 years. Yeah, come on.
I'm slightly ahead of you.
20 years old.
I'm looking at the club's 75 years, and I'm thinking, God, it's really old. And then I realise I've been doing judo for nearly half that. So that's a long time. I think, and it creeps up on you because suddenly, interestingly, the very sadly, often the passing points are where people pass. Yeah. Where people pass by into the next life, when they pass onwards. So I'm thinking, die. That's what.
What word am I thinking of?
So I'm thinking what? He's passed on.
Pops his clogs.
Yeah, popped his clogs. And I think it's interesting because you for years I thought, it's interesting how it catches up on you, because for years I was coming down and I was training, and there were a lot of instructors and experienced players who were there and more senior. And then over time I start as a coach, and I'm helping out, and then I qualify as a coach and do more and more sessions, but I'm still in my mind, a player who's instructing. And then, you know, the instructors who taught you are starting to retire, and, you know, sadly some of them pass away. And then it was a real shock for me a few years ago, when in a relatively short space of time, within a couple of years, a couple of people who've been really big influences in my judo career passed on. And then suddenly there aren't those people, it's you. And it's down to you to carry the baton for the next generation, because the people that you looked up to, it's really humbling. But the people you looked up to, you're now the person that other people are looking up to. It's your responsibility to say the things that are going to be the right thing when they're feeling bad, to give them the advice that's going to make the difference in their next fight. You know, and to be that person to pass those lessons on. So I guess the next thing is, well, so I've got to pop off.
No,
then you take
over.
Don't
give me that
so
torch.
Hopefully a few years
soon.
yet.
Don't give me that torch anytime soon. Absolutely. But it's weird. Like, for me, it's happened too fast. It really has happened too fast. Like you said, I've seen people come and go. I've only been here 10 years, which is not a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot. Nothing.
10 years is nothing compared to the 75-year history. But I've seen them all come and go, and the spot that I'm in now with the club, again, it's just happened too fast. You know, and again, people are looking up to me, and I'm in positions where I'm responsible.
Scary, isn't it?
It really is. Now I think about it, I never really thought about it. Now that you put it into my mind, I mean, you know, shaking like a leaf, thinking, oh my God, you know, it's absolutely frightening. But again, I can remember day one where we lined up in grade order, lined at the very, very end, because I didn't have a judo suit, and then you had your white belts, your red, your yellow, all the way up, and orange again. Grades mean nothing. My sensei was a blue belt. Never had a black belt. Doesn't mean anything.
Jamie, if you're listening, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. But and again, I was just thinking, oh, you know, and now I'm stood where he was, and again, I feel indebted. It still hasn't sunk in.
No, I remember getting my first suit. Yeah, very special, and it was, and I think I was going to say in those days, a lot of the. It's still the case, but not quite as bad. But in those days, a lot of the cheaper suits were quite a yellow fabric. Now, luckily, they're all a lot whiter. But what you used to have was all the black belts had these super white suits, and all the beginners had these yellowy
with the names engraved on it.
Yeah, these yellowy white suits. Nowadays, most people end up with a pretty white suit, but it was an interesting as you went through the grades and you bought a better and better judo suit and it got whiter. or your yellowy one was washed and it slowly bleached out with all the wash powder.
I'm looking at mine now. Like I said, I had to go and splash out and get one engraved, didn't I? But no, you're absolutely right. How I was just so concerned.
If you could see this, you could see. Yeah, no, it's not flash. It's stitched in with your name in gold lettering on your suit. Yeah, very nice. I don't have that. My brother would tell you why.
Well, I got bounced left, right and centre the first time I wore this, I'll tell you that. Everybody was gunning for me that night. Posh suit. Everybody was gunning for me.
Yeah, so it was very nice.
It's nice, it's like...
Yeah, it's worth the extra. Yeah, because in case you lose your suit, at least someone can get it back. I wonder who this belongs to.
It's end up in a charity shop somewhere.
Well, that's some suits we found.
The amount of judo suits that we've lent out here, and I've gone to a charity shop and found them going for £2. And we bought our own judo suits.
If you're listening and you've got a suit, bring it back. Don't put it in the charity shop.
It's Keidokwai in Byron in the collar. I found it in the charity shop. That's so common. You would not believe.
Yeah, so we try to keep some of them in the building now. Yeah, they just escaped, don't they? As if they've got legs of their own. Off another judo suit gone. So what's for the next 75 years then, Ross?
What's for the next 75 years? Absolutely.
You'll be still here in 75 years, I won't.
Yeah, potentially.
No, mate.
No, for me, potentially, I suppose.
Cheers.
Maybe. I don't know. Try and keep yourself healthy. But absolutely what anybody wants it to be is the way I say it. Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, we might have even had the showers fixed by then.
Well, the showers do work. The showers do work.
Okay. Warm showers?
Warm showers, that's the way we need it to be.
Old style showers.
I don't dare jump in there. I've got shaking like a leaf.
We started that years ago. Used to be a thing to go into the showers when they're freezing, but no.
Like a dare or something, or
just get in and get showered.
or just push someone in.
Yeah, freezing cold. No, I can tell you, how long have you been coming? I've been coming long enough that I know when the showers worked.
Yeah,
they were warm.
Yeah, I remember when they worked as well. Well,
if you're a plumber in the Blackpool area and you know how to get showers working, we'd welcome you.
shout out, yes please.
Big shout out for plumbers. We like plumbers. We did like people, window guys, and we've sorted the windows, so window guys are top, and heating engineers, we sorted the heating out, they're top guys as well.
That's normally what we ask you when you come down. What's your profession?
Yeah, when you're really shortage of plumbers. The first aid supplies are good. I'm not mentioning any new members.
Yeah,
but our first aid supplies are pretty good.
We've had counsellors.
They're hopeless.
Yeah.
Mr. CC, when you listen to this.
No, that's the first thing we ask. How you doing? You've done judo before. What's your profession?
Can you help us out?
Can you help our building? Can you help our club in any way?
Yeah. You're not a plumber. Oh. Do you know any plumbers?
We had an electrician once.
A podcaster.
And a podcaster, absolutely.
Yeah, if you need a podcaster. But
we can use it.
You're not a plumber, are you?
No. I knew the odd bit of plumbing I did at my old job, but that's about it. That's as far as my knowledge goes. That's like fixing the urinal. Just.
Well, you never know.
Welcome to that. Are you committed to it?
No.
You're giving it 100%?
No.
Right. Stick to the podcasting.
Thanks, Gary.
Goodness gracious me. Well, no, like I said, how did you get into judo? Anyway, let's flip the coin. I say, let's flip the coin here. How did you get into judo?
Because my brother came down because he did taekwondo, and he saw.
Was he good at that?
He got the belt before black, so red.
Oh wow!
He's better than he's
black
achieved
tag,
more
I think
than
it was.
Man, he must have turned up more.
We're not sitting in the gym.
So,
We saw it at the party yesterday.
Because he saw the poster in the sandwich shop.
yeah.
Because that was the go-to place for me to put the posters up.
Yeah.
They were always willing to put. In fact, they had like the line of posters over the years. They never took them down. So yeah. So your brother got peckish, and that's why you started judo.
Yeah. I needed a go-to to lose some weight. So.
Nothing better than down here, to be fair, in terms of burning calories, if you will.
No, and it's one of the top three sports, I think, for fitness, all-round fitness. So not only is it good for your heart, but it's if you haven't done judo before, you come down to a session and you'll have a very positive feeling of achievement the next day. You're going to ache a bit, and it's sometimes very interesting. We get people come down who think, "Oh, I'm really fit. I'm gonna absolutely do this," and then they'll feel the same the next day. They're going to wake.
It's a different kind of fitness. I say it all the time. You can get a footballer fit as a butcher's dog come down here, blowing out his backside within 5 minutes. I'm the same. I'm conditioned for judo. I can get on the football field and I'll be absolutely dead by 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Near football is far too dangerous.
Yeah, I'm into football. No chance. No chance.
I tell you what, football referee, that's a job I couldn't do.
I'm ready to start knitting or something, but maybe chess or knitting for me. I need something safer.
But so, for someone who wants to, if they're listening to this thing doing judo, what advice would you give them?
Don't overthink it. Turn up. So all you've got to do is, if you've got any rings or metal or studs, take them off. It's much easier if you turn up without things rather than we have to mention them and you've got to go off to the bathroom and take studs and piercings out. So take any metal off, wear some old joggers, make sure your toenails are cut back so we don't risk snapping those or catching those on anything, and then come and have a go. If you don't like it, we'll say thank you and that's okay.
Yeah, there's no pressure, you don't have to sneak out or make excuses. If it's really not for you, it's not for you.
It's not for everyone.
Welcome that. And my advice is just come down and enjoy it, as simple as that.
Come and have a go.
You've got to enjoy it. It can never be a chore. Come down, enjoy yourself. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
You might find you can beat Ross up.
I'm sure you can. Absolutely. But I think we should just go out. Like I said, 75th year. Anyone listening to the podcast, whatever, come down, get a free month for judo. Whole of February free.
So a free day, a free session has just become a free month now just because they listen to the podcast.
100%. There you go.
So there we go.
We're not sponsored or anything. We're not getting.
And the point where we said judo made no money is it's just guaranteed it makes no money.
To celebrate the 75th year, if you're willing to give judo a try, we'll give you a free month.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Again, all we're doing is just providing opportunity. Give someone an inch and hopefully they'll take a mile.
Well, we can challenge people. If you're good enough, come on.
He said that quite sinister. That was quite sinister way of putting it.
I'm really. Sometimes this isn't a. We as we said right at the start that there isn't a judo type. Yeah. You can't be overweight for judo. You can't be too tall. You can't be too short. Well, if you were too short, I wouldn't be doing it. But there isn't a judo type because the point is that you learn to work with what you've got, which is where you never have to apologise for your body. You don't have to apologise if you've got a few pounds. Judo's a weight-banded sport. So if you're a bit bigger, that's okay. If you're not fit, that's okay too. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll help you understand how you can get the best out of what you've got and never complain about it. Yeah. But you will improve. You can't do judo for a few weeks, a few months and not feel better. Yeah. You'll ache a bit at first, but it'll be a good ache and you'll feel really proud. And if you come back, next time you'll ache a bit less. Well, maybe. Okay, maybe not.
A little bit less.
But you'll certainly see the difference in the achievement. And your friends will as well. I think they'll notice it. If you do a couple of years of judo, and if we were videoing you, you'd walk different. Yeah. You'd walk with it. Not only would your posture be better, but you'd be more confident.
Yeah. So so newbie wants to try judo.
When weeks. Thanks, Ross. 3 weeks. 4 weeks. If you mention the word.
I could have got the
mention the podcast. If you mention the podcast.
Okay, so you got to quote the podcast.
Got to quote the podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Lost Starter Podcast.
Lost Starter Podcasting. Podcasting.
Say that 5 times fast. So yeah, if you quote the podcast, you get a free month. And that's on me. I know they're going to be chasing me now.
So this goes out to a school, and the school class decides, or a year decides they want to do it, and we get 20, 30 students down. Ross is absolutely the coach there.
I'll get the round of drinks.
4 weeks. 4 weeks free. Absolutely. Come down.
Yeah.
So,
you're welcome.
When can we come down then? So when we open? When's the club open?
So Mondays.
Yeah.
Juniors 6 till 7. Adults, if you come down for about 7:15 till 9 o'clock. So if you come down for about 7:15, that'll give you time to fill the membership form in. Again, we don't charge you, but we need to know. We just talk through. We joke about this, but obviously we take health and safety very seriously, and we want to make sure that anything that is perhaps going to be we need to be aware of. We've got your emergency contact details. Nothing surprising. There's nothing hugely personal, but we just go through all the forms to make sure we're safe and legally compliant, and then and the lights have gone off. Very eco-efficient.
It's on a timer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah.
Eco-efficient, and then off you go. So Monday 7:15 till 9 o'clock. Thursday 7 till 8:30.
Till 9.
Till 9 now, yeah. Bonus half an hour.
And then we've got
4 weeks free.
We've got another club in St Anne's, same club, different location. That'll be Wednesdays. We've got kids classes from 4:30 onwards and adult classes 6:30. But yeah, obviously the power to the club is on a timer. And it's just gone completely. And then I'm not dressed yet. I'm barefoot as well. It's going to be like Home Alone getting down these stairs. Absolute nightmare. Oh dear.
Just wait till you get an iron in the face.
An iron in the nail in the foot.
Set your hair alight.
Oh, I'm dreading getting down these steps now.
That's why I've got a torch.
You do the lost art of falling downstairs. Yeah, so come down.
So this is the end of my judo career.
Mondays, 7:15. No charge, because Ross has just given 4 weeks free if you mention Lost Art of Podcasting. And
cheap plug.
Cheap plugs all the way.
Yeah, and then Thursdays 7 till 9 now.
Yeah, we've extended that.
Yeah, so and
opportunity.
Costs £4 per session. First 4 sessions free. Oh, Ross, what have you done? So
why do you keep hitting me when you're saying that?
You will not find a cheaper martial arts club with anywhere near the quality of coaching that Ross will give you with his 4 weeks free.
In February.
Yeah, I'll put the money in the tin. Don't worry.
If you're selling your cars, a lot of people turn up.
I think that's everything, gents. Thank you very much for staying late and doing this.
Cheers, Adam. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you from Ross and thank you, Gary.
Cheers.
This has been the Lost Art of Podcasting. I've been Coxy. He's been Ross. He's been Gary, and you've been listening. Thank you very much.
Focus. Concentrate. Discipline. Focus. Concentrate.
Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody judo. I'm never gonna quit, never gonna forfeit. Even if I feel a stalemate, I won't hesitate. I engage in judo. I'm the one to eat pie. This is a way of life, self-control, focus, prepared, ready, but a very gentle wombat. Ready, but a very gentle wombat. Perhaps my higher power might have to intervene. If not, I will judo up now. I am not mean. Increase my discipline, my self-esteem. Balance the techniques, keep everything keen. Perfect rhythm, timing, and harmony. Plus, I know judo. There's no harm in me. I have my identity, get to know me. So respectable, you wish they clone me. It's about dojo and perfection. Ki-ya, part of my perception. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody judo. No pain, no gain, no guts, no glory. This is a story of lifelong learning. Respect for others, including myself. Humility, good sportsmanship, good for my health. To excel in competition, I'm confident. Let them run at me, step to the side, now rock this chair. I'd rather love you, it's easier, not go in peace. A goal set for me, it's one within reach. I'm a better fellow, I am focused. It's hard work, it's dojo, not hocus pocus. Maximize my efficiency, feel, ki-ya, ipon, believe I can achieve. Do my body good, then I will receive. If this sounds like you, judo has what you need. Do my body good, then I will receive. If this sounds like you, judo has what you need. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody can learn judo. Everybody